Welcome to the Bearded Finisher Podcast, your one-stop show for all things finishing and coatings. Your host, Zach, and a variety of industry experts will guide you through the art of perfecting your finishing and business game. From seasoned pros to fresh faces, get ready for tips, tricks, and trends to elevate your knowledge and business to the next level.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. Today we have got Rise Up Labels. How you guys doing today?
Doing well, thank you. Well, thanks for having me.
Well, let's go ahead and real quick introduce everybody, and so we can get all the names out there and start there.
Start with the ladies first.
All right, I'm Callie, and I'm the daughter of Brad. I'm Hannah. I'm also a daughter. I'm mostly marketing and business development here.
And my name is Brad. I had the privilege of starting Rise Up Label in 2010.
2010. So for these of you guys that don't know, Rise Up Label specializes in making stick-free labels that don't leave the residue that we all have a pain in the butt problem with when we get the cabinets from a cabinet builder. They all have that residue on them. Well, these guys make a product that does not leave the residue. And Callie and Brad, you and I met in Atlanta for the first time at a meetup that we did with Steve. And that's kind of where I got to know you guys, because you guys had a booth out there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so IWF was super fun for us. That was the one in Atlanta. That was actually my first show ever of doing anything like that. And so it was a huge show for me because I had never done anything like that. But Brad brought me with him, and we had a blast, and we met a ton of people, made super good connections, and it was fun meeting you as well. And here we are a long time later doing a podcast with you, so that's super fun.
I did not know that was your first show period. That is quite the show to go to for your first one.
Oh yeah, fed to the wolves.
That thing, I mean, I cringe when that show comes. I mean, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but there's just so much walking.
Yeah,
it's just so big. And the worst part about it, have you guys done AWFS yet?
Yeah.
I haven't done that one.
Yeah.
We're about to this coming year, though.
Yeah.
I love Vegas show. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Vegas. I'm too cheap to gamble. I like my money, but it's a lot more and way more condensed. But you get a lot of consistency to me in AWFS. Like, a lot of the vendors are always the same place they were. I feel like at IWF, because IWF goes on like a semi-seniority type deal, but the seniority is if I remember right, the seniority in getting a booth is if you displayed last year, you get a shot before people who haven't, but you just get to pick whatever's open. And they just walk around, they'll walk around in Vegas. The IWF guys will walk around in Vegas and allow you to put your deposit and pick your booth for Atlanta the next year.
That's how we've gotten to both events. They help each other.
Yeah, they used to each do one, a show every year, and they finally got together and said we're killing each other on attendance. So then they went to even and odd years. But I think Vegas has a lot more consistency. The guys are always the same place. And in Atlanta, you just never know. It's where they were last year, they may move, and just because they could get a bigger spot or whatever, but I don't know. That show just is so crazy. It's so insane. And there's nothing around it is the other part. I mean, the event center, the Georgia World Congress, there's just nothing over there. And then you get into Vegas. I mean, yeah, it's on the far end, but I mean, you've got all kinds of hotels right there, and you get to ride the underground tunnels. So you got to do that when you're there. If you haven't ridden the Tesla tunnels, it's fun to go do.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Yeah, we enjoyed we've done some different types of summits and smaller events and association events and stuff, and we just enjoy them all. They all have their little flavor. And what we learned at IWF and AWFS is our joke is we actually do it, but we'll grab a corner booth, a 10 by 10. We don't need much, we don't have a lot of stuff. And we push the tables back, and Callie gets on one corner and I get on one corner, and I say, all right, we have a little card that shows on a piece of wood that you peel the label off of a regular removable label that leaves residue, and then you just tear it up right in front of them. I said, just go out there and trick people, just get them out there, and because they're not coming here to look at labels, they're looking for machines and parts and what have you. So we go out there and we kind of semi-trip them up and say, hey, have you seen this before? And you peel up, they're like, yeah, why? And then we turn it over and we peel up our label, and they're like, well, wait a minute here. And they come to our thing, and they're all of a sudden, they're just locked in. And all these business owners and shop owners are like, wow. They're like, we've never seen this. Where has he even been for the last 20 years? Because we've been paying people to peel labels off, and our installers are all mad at us because they're got heat guns in the back of their trucks, and they're working with all this residue, and they get charged back for that. So we've learned all of this stuff that these woodworkers have just a mess with a silly label.
Yeah, it just something that it's a problem, but there's never been the solution, and that's where you guys come in. And you said 2010, right?
That's when I started this part of the company, correct?
Okay, so let's shoot back and give us a quick history lesson, kind of a bio about how you started in 2010. If prior to that, let's hear it. What led to Rise Up Labels? Girls, I want to hear how you ladies got involved with the company, and let's just kind of let's get the history.
Yeah, so I've been in product sales, so to speak, since 1991 out of college. So that kind of makes me a little older guy. But I sold print and promotional products, like logo wear like that. We did labeling, marketing. Back in the days when there was lots of forms and things, it was a different world. Well, now everything's digital, right? So you don't have as much print. So labels, I had a customer in the mid 90s. It's one of the larger cabinet companies in the country right now. But I did all of their plants across the country, and I worked with them with all their labels. And then over the years, several years, I learned a ton about labels and labeling because we were solving problems at those different places. And what we today call the RiseClean label actually birthed itself back in the mid 90s. We just didn't have a clue that's what we would be doing all today. So what happened was at all of our plants, when you know how the process engineer guys and plant managers, they move around and they get another plant. And so our guys would take us with us everywhere they went. And suddenly I'm like, wow, we have really, and a lot of big plants, medium-sized plants. And so all of a sudden I have all this business and opportunities to serve people in the label processes and cabinet plants. And so I started Rise Up in the middle of that all, and fast forwarding 4 or 5, it's probably 5 years ago now, I decided that this was all we were going to do because I really enjoyed the cabinet industry. I enjoy the people. I love a lot of family businesses and stuff, and kind of matches up with what we get to do here. It's just such a blessing to be able to do that. But so I decided we were going to do that, and so we decided that's all we're going to do is labels. The RiseClean label and other labels. We also do a paint masking label for painting, but we're going to bring these solutions to the entire industry as a whole. Instead of me supplying a whole bunch of different products to everybody, I'm going to supply a couple good products and solutions with the kind of service that Rise Up has always given to a specific industry, and we chose the woodworking industry. So fast forward to today. Now we got social media, we got a website for ordering. We are doing trade shows. We've become a part of associations. We got worldwide presence now. We're actually communicating with the UK, Puerto Rico, Mexico, Canada. So it's spreading. The word is spreading, and we're just following that word. So that's really where we're at today. And obviously my role has, like I said, that's been a blessing to be able to be a part of that whole journey. So that's my story.
Is that is that something you would have ever thought? I mean, from where you started to where the company is now, I mean,
No.
That's a crazy turn. I mean, that's not something you would think would be, I mean, that's what happens in businesses, but you guys have stayed open to that.
Yeah. No, that is one of the things that I look to heaven and thank God for every day, because that is a gift, and I would have never been able to do that myself, for sure.
That is awesome. So we'll start, Callie. How did you get in?
Well, let's start with Hannah first because she's been in it longer than me. So I'll let her go first, and then I can tell my story.
Barely longer, not much longer. Obviously, Callie and I both grew up around the small business and the idea of entrepreneurship. Kind of going back to how we got to where we are today. 10 years ago, I didn't know how to tell my friends what my dad did for a living. He did a little bit of everything, and I didn't know how to describe that. And now, obviously, it's very clear. So now when people ask what we do, we have a clear answer. But yeah, I definitely could not have told you 10 years ago or any further than that where we'd be today. But basically, so yeah, we grew up around it, learning the small business world and just kind of how like people focused a small business is, and the importance of serving other people. And so obviously grew up around that. And then after college, I went and did my own thing. I started a digital marketing agency, and I've been doing that for about 6 years. And sometime around, I don't know, the end of 2023, I think it was, Dad and I started talking about bringing my services to his business. And I'm not quite sure how it snowballed from there.
Well, what did you originally say about the woodworking industry?
I definitely did not think that this industry was on social media. I worked primarily with coaches and like women entrepreneurs, and he asked me about social media, and I said, there is no way that the woodworking industry is on social media. Like, there's no way these guys are spending time on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, podcasts. I'm like, look, there's just no way. And so he encouraged me to dig into it a little bit more. So I did, and found that actually you guys are pretty active. And so
I mean, it's interesting because you almost have, since it's come out, I think a lot of guys have been forced to, because our trade is so visual.
Yeah.
And how else can you show off a custom kitchen or a paint job or a specialty finish? I mean, it's exploded for the woodworking guys for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think too that, I don't know about specifically for your industry, but my business in 2020 absolutely like skyrocketed because everyone was forced to go online. I'm sure that was the case with the woodworking industry as well, and I'm sure that was a huge factor. And a lot of people maybe that had resisted it as at first decided to hop onto social media and try and connect with other people. I mean, it really takes your business from a local, a local venture to completely worldwide, which is what we're seeing right now as well.
The brand recognition you get from going, I interviewed a guy who does furniture restoration in California, great guy, named Aaron. And he was like, when he got into social media, and he actually ended up writing a book on furniture refinishing that's incredible. But he was like, I mean, you're not limited to your zip code. What's the greatest thing about social media? I mean, then if I'm in California and I want all those clients that have a lot of money, I can move to Utah, but they already know me. I mean, it just, once you have that realization what social media can do, it's nuts. I mean, I wish it was more prevalent when I had my business. I think it would have made growing a lot easier, but It
opens a lot of doors that you would not have seen coming.
Yeah. So do you still do social media for like coaches and stuff on the side, or are you solely working for Rise Up now?
I would say over the last year, I've kind of not put my business on a back burner, but allowed my team members to take a lot more of the lead on the accounts that they were working on or we were working on together. And so the girls that work with me are incredible, and they're very like self-driven, self-led. So I let them do a lot of the actual like execution of the services we provide, while I do a little bit more of the high level stuff, making sure the company keeps running. But my focus is growing more towards this side. This is stealing my heart. It is.
I'm reeling her in.
You're getting her sucked in. I tell everyone about this industry, and I'm like, once you get into this industry, you can't get out.
Yeah.
There's like some sort of weird sickness when this finishing, painting world, woodworking world sucks you in. Like I've tried to get out of it twice and you just get pulled right back in. And finally you're just like, all right, this is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I can go now. So I recently kind of joined and just started fully like committing to them and this business. So I actually just graduated college not that long ago. Technically this past winter actually. And my major was kind of unrelated. I had business as my major for a while, and then I actually ended up switching to public health. And I had a nutrition minor the entire way. So it's like completely unrelated. But long story short, I got to go to Costa Rica for an internship out of it, and it was the most amazing experience. And so I feel like the Lord really put me there for a reason, which is awesome. And then, so I graduated and I came home and I'm like, okay, I have this big decision now. It's like, do I do something with my major? Or I also have this other option where my dad started this business a while ago and now my sister is working for him and it's kind of becoming this family business, especially if I were to hop in and like also add to that. So I kind of had this like decision that I had to make when I got home from college, and it's like, okay, am I gonna go work with my family, or am I gonna go out into the big bad world and go do my own path and whatever? And neither of them really scared me. It wasn't really about that. It was more of just like, okay, where do my values align with how the family business is versus like the outside world, and how does that all kind of work? And I think I kind of went a lot off of that because I've grown up with dad. Obviously, I've listened to all of his phone calls, and I really just like from as his daughter, I like he's such an honest man, and he's really out here just to help people, and he's creating relationship with people, and like he has such a good heart for people and this industry. And like you were just saying, like the woodworking industry is really cool once you get into it, right? Because you're creating relationships and you're getting to know people. And then all of a sudden, this industry that's huge becomes a little smaller and a little smaller. And I've hopped into some of like we were talking about IWF. I did that last summer as just kind of like a side thing to help him out and go with him and kind of experience it. And like you said, it just kind of reels you in, and it's like, wow, like there's some really great people in here. And so, yeah, I just kind of, my decision was kind of based off of that. And I love working with them. We're a really tight family and we have a lot of good things going. And yeah, I just from that, like my values align with their values, and we have our faith and we work with integrity, and we're really just here to serve people. And
That's
so
awesome.
I really align with that. And
it's very refreshing when you see companies that, and I think I can relate a lot with that. I've always said I've been in sales, owned my own businesses. It's about everything in this world is about relationships, and the relationship can be, I'm a big believer in transformative relationships. So it's, I get something from you and you get something from me. It's not one way. There's nothing transactional about it. If you've got a transactional relationship, it's, to me, it's a poison of sorts. It's not worth having that. I want it to be, always want relationships to be a two-way street. And that's all selling is creating relationships, serving people. I mean, it's nothing more than that. There's not a technique to it.
And that's another awesome thing about this industry that like I've found as I've like spent more time in it is really like everyone that you meet is just there to help each other and help each other grow, and education. It's not just you go in and sell your product. It's like, how can we help these people be educated on how to solve these problems that are like the dumb little label problem? It's like, well, how can we help them on that? And it's so simple, but like we're really just here to help people and educate and be like, you can be better this way. Like, let's work together and get it fixed.
So so give me a little background about Rise Up. I mean, are you guys manufacturing the labels here in the U.S.? Kind of run me through how the company is set up and things like that, how you guys are operating.
So our plant is right here in Minnesota, and we're, that at the plant, obviously there's all kinds of labels produced. The one that we're pushing the most is, I don't want to say we have one press running all those, but it's one of those scenarios where we have the it really what labels are. It's not just a sheet of paper, right? You got a lot of people don't understand what goes into producing a label, and getting a label to work almost flawlessly is not your everyday thing. Most of I would never hammer on any competition, and this isn't that, but most of our competition, so to speak, is selling all kinds of labels to all kinds of industries, and it's the scenario. And I used to do that as well, right? And there's a great need for that. But when you drive into something as deep as we have in the woodworking world, you need to find actually the solutions. And it's not a matter of what I used to do. They used to call me up and say, "Hey, I can't get the label to stick or to stay or whatever." Okay, well, let me send you 5 more samples, and try them out. No, we are now in a place where we're not just providing the label, but like Callie said, we're providing a service. We've become a consultant, and I've done this for so long, and I've learned what these plants need, and we've added to our conversation not just what the label does, but how the label goes through each and every different printer, because every printer has different needs. Every software that they are running has different needs. Every CNC machine that has an auto applicator or a manual labeler is sitting on the end of it, all of that's different needs. So for me to have a business that just says, "Oh yeah, just let me send you some samples," can you imagine all that would have that that cabinet maker has to go through just to figure out the label on his own?
Yeah, I mean, in the manufacturing world, it was similar. I was with manufacturing. We made paint, and I can't tell you how many labels we would go through between our 5-gallon label, the 1-gallon label, the quart label, then the accessorial labels that go on the label that show the size if they're not printed on it. I hate labels now because of that.
Yes.
It is. And if it's shiny, if it's shiny, it can't use this ribbon. If it's matte, you have to use this ribbon. This ink will come off with an a solvent. This one won't, and I'm just like,
it's crazy. And every one of those applications requires about 3 or 4 different specifications.
Yes, and cabinet builders are not a quiet group. They're not a keep to themselves when it's not going right group, shall we say. I think painters are the same way. If something's not going right, phone calls are being made, and we're going to have a discussion, sometimes loudly. So to be able to dig in and truly cater to these guys, finishers and painters, I mean, it's something that's been needed for a long time. You guys hit it hard.
It's great. So this is kind of an interesting thing that's happened to me literally in just recent months. But my conversation with the shop owner or the plant manager or the engineer, whoever we're talking to, has gone from, okay, well, I'm going to sit here. I'm going to ask you about 20 questions because there's a lot that goes into figuring out what label you need. Okay, so we're going to go through all that. The last several conversations that I've had with these shops is we can do this 2 ways. I can almost send you a document that you need to fill out, or we can ask you over the phone and figure out all these details, or you can tell me what you're doing right now and answer a couple questions about what printers you have and what have you, and if you're open to having another printer, whatever. And I said, option B, I can literally just tell you what to do. You know what these guys say? Option B, please.
Just tell me.
Yeah, just tell me. So yeah, the girls are like, "Dad, don't get so cocky. You're just acting like you know everything." And I'm like, "No, I get that." But I take them through the thing, and they're so happy because I know exactly what they need. I know what printer. I will literally tell them, throw away your, I won't mention brand names, but throw away that printer and go buy this $389 other brand printer. And then we're going to get this label. It's going to be this size. and it's going to have this adhesive. And then I stop and I say, does that sound good? Yes, please. Thank you. It's like they're done. They can go and do what they do best.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was just about to hit on that. I mean, that's the nail on the head. They do what they do best. I mean, you think of these cabinet shops and even painters, you've got a million things going through your mind as a business owner or even an operator. You've got a CNC, you've got edge banders, you've got multiple tinting equipment. Sometimes you're making your own color. And the last thing you want to, I mean, just one more thing. If you can just get one thing taken off of your list, labels is a great one to get knocked off the list. Someone just say, hey, if you do this, I'm telling you, you're not going to have problems. As a business owner, you're going, done. That one is in your court. I mean, one of the best books that I've ever read, and it actually came from Steve, was written by a guy named Benjamin Hardy, and it's called Who Not How. And opened my eyes to, I've always been the guy that's, we need to do this. All right, let's figure it out. I need to fix something on my coach. All right, I'll figure it out. I need to do this. I'll figure it out. And you read this book, and it just goes really in depth on, and find a who instead of figuring out how. Spend your time doing what you're good at. Don't spend your time trying to figure out how to do it. There's a who out there that already knows how to do it. And you can spend your time that will probably make, depending on, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're good at X, you can make more money doing X than figuring out how to do Y. Thinking you're going to save money over here. I mean, it's just great book. I mean, if you haven't read it, it's worth a read. I do Audible because have no attention span to sit down and read a book. Just doesn't work. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. It just does not work.
No.
But so let's talk about Rise Up. Let's talk about what you guys are really catching traction with, and that is the RiseClean label. That's the one that you see on social media. I've seen you guys post a lot of stuff about that. So just kind of, I don't want any secret sauce, but just kind of give us a rundown of that and what is making that label so unique to the industry.
So, I would never, ever say that we are the only, obviously. I would say that we are the only that is providing an incredibly strong solution. But again, with all of the service and the focus on the industry and trying to understand their business, I just don't know anybody else doing it. So that's where we have really honed in on you guys and on the industry. And so the RiseClean label, RiseClean is now a trademarked name because we like the name because Rise Up is our name, and the RiseClean rises clean off of the every product you put it on is just it's a good way to do it. So that's the product. That label can be put on any part. Anywhere from the beginning when they're on the CNC cutting the big pieces of plywood and sheets into doors, frames, all the parts, door fronts, and that label is auto applied. The label will work with auto appliers. It will work with all the manual printers. It's a standard specification label. The special part is the adhesive, which just was cleaned. Everybody's bought a product at the store and peeled off that label, and it drives you absolutely crazy. You got a new product there, and you can literally not get that stupid little label off. So it's not a new problem. And someday maybe we'll bounce into different areas, but for now we're going to focus on wood. So that label, and again, can be put on the part at any point in the process, finished, unfinished, wood, MDF, HDF. All the different, plywoods on the edges, on the ends, however you want it. We've even created labels now. I went from working with probably, a dozen to 15 plants 3 years ago. I think we have over 250 clients now. Yeah. And I'm not cold calling and knocking on doors anymore. It's these guys.
I was going to say, that's an awesome feeling, but no, that's a good one to pass down. Yeah, I mean, that's always good.
Yeah, so that's what it is. And here's another thing I'll add to this that we just added into our quote-unquote toolbox for the conversation. I asked some plants. I said, everybody's told me about how terrible their labels are and all the pain of taking these labels off, and their installers are mad at them. Our assembly people are. I'm paying a guy at the end of it. I said, somebody help me with some numbers here, because some people want to hear numbers, which as a business owner we should. So I got on the phone one day and I asked a few of them, and here's what I heard. They were all, these were all guys that were having the residue problem. They were scraping labels. And I said, first of all, I said, obviously labor's probably what, $25 an hour. So that makes 42 cents per minute. Yep. They all agree. I said, okay, so you got a label that has to be scraped off. How long do you think it takes your guy to scrape? Oh, he goes, these guys are like, I've done it a million times. It took anywhere from an average of 2 to 5 minutes. And that 5 minutes is all the way, you got to get the solvent, you got to have rags, you got to buy all that stuff. So there's a lot. He goes, and that's not even to say of when our installers do it. They charge us back for the labor of scraping off labels. So we call them chargebacks, and nobody likes chargebacks. So it was 2 to 5 minutes at 42 cents a minute. And then I said, okay, so what kind of materials? I got solvent, I got rags. I go, how much solvent do you think you use to peel off one label? And a couple guys go, it's anywhere from 1 to 3 ounces. Okay. So, and then I went on and I found out solvent's about 28 cents an ounce. So when I added all of this together, and this is where Hannah, what do you call our label?
The 4-cent solution to $1 million problem.
Yeah.
Somebody else said that.
Yeah.
Somebody else told us
I like
that.
Yeah, I give her credit because she's really smart. So the 4-cent problem, $4 problem, this is where it happens. And I said, okay, guy, and I asked them both, I said, is it every label or just a few? The lowest number was 75% of every label that went on. And the other guy said it's every one. Okay. So you got a range of all this. Yeah. So I added up the numbers. It's anywhere from the very low end, $3 to $7 per label cost for the manufacturer.
Just to remove it.
Yes.
That didn't even figure in buying the label.
Yes. And then Zach, we got people that say, well, your label's 1.5 cents more than my other one. And I say, can I tell you a story? So that's I wanted to add that in there because that's I mean,
7. I'm rolling through those numbers and I'm like, I mean, you guys are gonna just explode. I mean, I understand there's gonna be, this industry has the diehards. I mean, we have the old guys that never want to change their mind for anything.
yeah.
But I mean, that one seems like a pretty simple answer to me. I mean, I don't even know how you could say no to that.
Yeah.
I mean, once they start using our label, that's how it is.
Yeah.
They don't go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you guys offer, like, I've seen the demos. I got a couple in that spectacular blanket that my kids are absolutely in love with.
Yay!
That giant blanket. Thank you guys. That thing is awesome. I mean, anytime the kids are having like a movie night, they're like, can we get the big blanket? I'm like, it's in the closet.
Oh, that's sweet.
And then for some reason they still fight over it. I'm like, guys, this thing could cover both of you 6 times.
When you bundle that thing up, it's hard to even pick up. It's so heavy.
I mean, it is so heavy. Oh, well, they love that thing. But so I've seen like the samples. Do you guys offer it in varying sizes? Like, so I could order like, I'm going to call it a standard shipping label, or I could order an address label, all with that same adhesive.
Absolutely, yeah. Whatever the need is. We're custom manufacturing these labels. We're making them to spec. And the reason that we have a store now is because everybody wanted ease of ordering. So we have an Amazon type store. We're actually building a new version right now because of all the need and all the requests. But we'll have all of the major sizes on there, all the way from a little 4x1 to 3x2s, 3x3s, 4x2s, 4x3s, 4x4s. And we've even done some custom things to them, like put a little bend perf in them so they can put a label on the face of a piece and then bend the edge around the top. When their parts are sitting vertical, they can see it vertically too. So we've just learned we've learned so many things, and we're just adapting as we go and learn. But we'll make a label any which way they want it. Some people like to have color on it so they can signify the day it was produced, and their people are visual. So there's all kinds of things we can do to the label.
What about is it roll flat, or will you guys do both, like sheet or roll?
Sheets are not the avenue we go. That's a whole different process. It's all rolls right now.
It's all rolls. It's all rolls, and you guys do you guys sell the printers too? Do you guys have access to them, or?
We don't. What do we do with the printers, Calvin?
So we recently we don't sell the actual printers, but what we do is we send out printer suggestions. We like to suggest a certain type of printer because that's what's going to be the most beneficial for the cabinet maker. It's going to be like, we talk about the most industrial kind and what's going to be the most cost effective for them. And so we just like to educate on the types of printers that we think is going to be best for them. But we don't necessarily sell them. But we do have on our website right now, we have a blog actually that you can click into, and it will bring up all of those printers that we recommend based on what that plant is producing.
Oh, shoot me that link, a link to that, and I'll tag it when the show comes out. I'll put it down there for you guys to go look at. Put it down in the show notes. Software, is that just straight link to the printer, or do you guys recommend specific software to be able to get what you want? I mean, how does the software side working?
The software is really that's up to the user. Whatever they're using, you know all the big names. All those big names in the industry are in every plant that we go to. Every once in a while, we'll run into a different name we've heard, but that really doesn't affect the use of the label.
Okay. Just making sure everyone has all that. So, what's next? I mean, what do we got coming out? Anything new that you guys are working on?
Yeah, so a couple things that we're excited about. Number one, we're going to put out what we're calling this is in concept stage, but we want to do video shorts type things, where we're going to put on our website, and we'll be able to put them in all of our email follow-ups. We're going to put little videos together, little training things to show everybody in the industry, see what we'll talk about the printers, and then another one we'll talk about the application. Then we'll talk about what to do if something. So we're going to put a lot of videos together because we really believe that people respond to that well, and it's easy we'll put a little caption above it. Probably drop that in our FAQs or part of our website. So we're excited about that. And then we also have another product that you know about. It's called our paint mask label. That is, story short, that is a label that allows you a lot of plants, before they'll put a part through the paint booth or spray booth, is they'll cover up the labels with masking tape, 3M tape, Scotch tape, all kinds of things, none of which are made for that environment. We have a label that is a one-step, multi-layered, we call it a paint mask label, and it's all clear. And you print on the back of the label, not to get into too many technicalities, but basically when you put it on and then it goes through spray, obviously your image disappears, you can't see it, but there's a little edge that you chip up and you pull off a top clear layer and re-expose the data underneath so that part can be tracked through the rest of the plant and you know what it's for. Usually this label is obviously put in places where it can stay with the product, usually on edges or on the back or an upper corner. But it allows it in one step instead of multiple things going on the part and labels falling off and paint mask falling off, masking tape falling off. So that's another product that we're excited about.
So is that one out now?
It is yep. It's just there's a little more of a process that the plants have to go to make that change.
I was going to say, I feel like that's going to have a special printer to it.
Not a special printer. It can be printed on the thermal printers, but it's a different process. It's a long sales cycle.
Okay. I mean, I like that for those guys that are doing finishing. I mean, clearly in the cabinet world, not as many of them are doing finishing as, probably should be, but that's a story for another time. I mean, my 10 plus years in the business is glad there wasn't as many guys doing finishing, because
That's right.
that allowed me to have a business.
That's right.
So let's talk about, I mean, one thing I always like to have is I like to ask is what's the vision and the goals for Rise Up?
Anybody want to tackle that, or you want me to? You guys have any
You
thoughts?
can start.
Well, yeah, that's okay. That's a great question, and I have a vision. I personally have a vision for this company. As you can see, I'm one blessed man to have these two next to me in business and in life, and to be their father. Yeah, to be their father has been the greatest thing in my life, and now to have them next to me, and they're incredible. These two are so smart, and they bring stuff to the table that I couldn't even think of. So the vision for this is for it to become what would you call it? Just a conglomeration of gifts and talents and expertise and the knowledge base that I've gained over the years, and being able to pour that in to these guys. I don't know 100% if they're going to take the business on it. But if they do, that's all part of this journey, and that's all part of this vision. I totally believe that we are definitely called to this industry, and like I said, this just didn't happen overnight. This didn't just all of a sudden here we're just going to do this. So to take that and to run with that and to go with it, and to be in an industry where we love the people. I mean, we're not the only family story.
No, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them.
Oh my goodness! And when you bring that to the table and you start making these connections, and I don't even like the word necessarily networking, but the relationship building and the time spent together, and when we go to these shows and these summits and these things, and everybody's helping each other and helping each other be more successful, not just in business but in life. It's just so I can see a vision of being a part of this for a long time, and no reason to ever really go away. But also to be flexible to the new things that come along and the new needs that come along. And the more that we stay in this industry, the more beneficial we can be to it. And we'll just see where that goes. We've watched guys like you and Steve and people that are just dumping knowledge and this kind of thing into these people. It's like, this is just a good group of people.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an industry that has long needed it since I've been in it for 10 plus years. Got into it for family reasons. I mean, my father-in-law, actually one who started the business, and how I got into it, he mentored me a lot with, entrepreneurship and business ownership. But the knowledge piece of it is something that has been lacking. So bringing that has been, I mean, I'm almost a year into this, and it's probably been, I'll say two things: the least amount of money I've made in a year and the most fun I've had in a year. It has been a blast. It's not the most lucrative business in the world, but that all comes with time. Hopefully, we'll get there eventually. But it has been a lot of fun, and the stuff that I've learned, I mean, has just been mind blowing. I mean, what about you ladies? Do you have any vision of yourselves in the industry going down the road, or any goals that you want to accomplish?
Yeah, I think I've kind of decided that this is what my future looks like work-wise. I really enjoy the people. I really enjoy the business development piece. That's something I really enjoy doing, like skill and task-wise. I mean, I'm very passionate about being a business owner and working with a team as well. I love leading a team. I've been able to do that with my own team for the last 6 years, and obviously would love to continue that even if it's with a different business. I think another goal of mine is just to expand my knowledge in the industry and be able to, I mean, I've learned more in the past year than I ever could have imagined. And I think that all of us have, and just being able to become more of a resource, maybe even beyond just our 1 or 2 label resources or label solutions, to just be able to answer more questions, honestly.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
To help. Yeah.
I like it.
And try and rope her into Rope her into it too.
Yeah, which I've already been roped in. So.
I mean, I think she's sucked in. I mean, it's she's already been to the shows. It's over.
Yeah.
We keep
All that
signing her up
equipment,
for
it just
the
sucks you in.
show.
Yeah. So,
I mean, she got to meet the bearded guy.
yeah, I did. Real life.
I don't know if there's a whole lot special to that, but Oh man. So what shows do you guys got coming up this year?
Well, that's another thing I was just going to talk about. Another, like, one of our goals and visions is just to keep showing up in person. Like, over online is great, but it's so much, like, better in person. Like, when we meet you in person, it's just so much more fun, and this is awesome. This is super fun. But seeing people in person is like just getting that human connection, and the socializing with people and building relationships in person is awesome. And that's something that I love personally. She does great on social media, and I will give that to her. But we like to be out there, and hopefully she'll come. We're trying to rope her into that.
Yeah, you got to go to at least one of the shows so you can see it.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're fun, and that's something that we want to continue doing. Is just like being there in person, showing up for people, and just meeting people in person is a huge thing. And we want to be there to answer questions. We want to be there to educate people, help people with that dumb little problem in their plant. It's tiny, but it's a big deal to people. So we like to.
have you?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Have you guys heard of WorkbenchCon?
I don't think we have.
It's in Atlanta. Oh man, I want to say it's coming up, but with the education side that you guys are doing and the social media focus that you have, look at WorkbenchCon. It's a show, but it's geared a lot towards how, I don't say how, but it's a lot of influencers. There's a lot of podcast guys that set up, that record live episodes at the show. But it's all around the woodworking industry, but it's like the digital and education side of the woodworking industry.
I like that.
I mean, yeah. I think this is the show you'll get Hannah to.
That's gonna be the one.
I want to say it's either coming up this weekend.
Oh wow.
Or the next. It's in February. It's in February, March. I just can't remember, but I heard of it from. Do you guys know Skylar and Hannah and Chad over at Surf Prep Sanding? Have you met them? Okay, I got to introduce you to them. I mean, Brad, you remind me so much of Chad, or of Skylar. Again, it's a family-owned business, and I mean, I think you guys could be brothers. It's kind of weird. I mean, look a lot alike, but he has a very similar story of how they got into the industry, and they sold abrasives, industrial abrasives. So they sell sanding paper, sanding equipment, but they sell it all over the U.S. They have their own equipment. They make all their abrasives in California or in South Carolina. I can't remember, but one of those two places. But same thing. Skylar and his wife, Mary. Hannah's his daughter. Her husband, they both work for the company. His other son, and his wife work for the company. It's very family focused, small company, but they're doing some amazing stuff. And they introduced me to WorkbenchCon. And if you're into the social media world and the digital space, but all focused on the woodworking industry, it's an awesome place to go. There's some real decision makers there that can help you guys out with like growing into that world. Something I would look at for you guys for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We'll definitely look into that.
Yeah. Let's see here. So, Brad, business wise, I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. I know you got stuff to do, but what advice would you give to these guys out there, these young guys that are just now getting into this business, that are starting a business? Same thing, Hannah, you've started a company. Like, what advice would you guys have for young people out there, even no matter what the age is, as far as whether it's training, whether it's skills, digital? I mean, what's the advice?
Well, I guess I would say the most important thing is to do business the way that you are wired and the way that your value that matches who you are, what your values are, and remember, Hannah's been through this because um, it's not just the product that you sell. Mm-hmm. It's what you do for people. People. I was told this by a coach a long time ago, a business coach of mine. He said, Brad, never forget, people buy from people that they know, they like, and they trust. And so we have to be those people. And if we're not those people, as we know, we reap what we sow. And so that's the biggest thing. And also knowing, getting into business, that, as we all know, it's not, you don't just flick a light switch and have success. Welcome to life. Welcome to everything that we do in life. And so remembering that it is a journey, and it's something that you're not going to know everything today. I think everybody should be, I always have believed in coaching and mentoring and having people that have gone before you, because we can't know it all on our own, and we can't study enough books. And between those, learning from those relationships and relating with people, one guy shared with me one year, he said, he asked the same question. He said, my greatest advice in life is, Brad, always have a hand up where you're holding the hand of somebody that's gone before you, and then always have a hand down where you're helping someone that's coming behind you.
Oh, that's genius. Yeah. 100. I do some coaching to some clients all the time, in the paint service world. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, I get it. You finished a pretty set of cabinets, but they're not going to call you because your pictures of cabinets look good. I don't care how ugly you think you are. Get in front of the camera. People buy from people. They want to know who they're buying from. Get out there. Get comfortable with it. The more comfortable you are in front of the camera, the more business you're going to get in the back end. The faster you guys buy into that, the easier this world is, especially right now. Yeah. Hannah, what about you? What would be your advice?
Yeah, well, he stole mine naturally.
He's allowed to. He's dad.
Yeah, I think, to gear it a little bit more different direction, just never stop developing yourself personally. There is always something new you can learn, a new skill you can pick up, a new, nugget out of a book. There's just always someone or something that can help you push forward. So just not getting complacent. I always try to have at least one, if not two or three mentors in my life, whether that's for work, personal, relationship, anything, like whatever area it helps you and will flow into the other areas. And so just, always asking for help and just kind of having that humble mindset of somebody knows more than you and you can learn that. So
you never want to be the smartest person in the room.
Never be the smartest person in the room. Exactly.
That's when you get in trouble.
Exactly. Yep.
Man, this has been an awesome episode. I've learned a lot. Hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have. Been awesome talking to you. My final question will go around the table as I say it. I end every episode with this question. I want the relationships, the transformative, the people to know who you guys are. So give me either something that would surprise the finishing community about you guys, or a hobby outside what you're like when you're not working on labels. We'll start with the youngest going this round.
I love traveling. That's going to be mine. Outside of working, I guess it kind of coincides a little bit with that too, but I just lived in Costa Rica for 4 months, and that was awesome. Totally different culture. It was great. It really forces you to learn how to deal with people and all sorts of different cultures, and I think that's something that's really important to learn. And now that I'm working in this group, I get to go to a bunch of shows and travel all around the country, hopefully outside the country soon again.
There you go.
Yeah, but that's something for me that I love to do is I just like to get out, go see places, go see people, and just learn a bunch of things about the world. So
That's awesome. My wife she's in the corporate world. She works for a defense contractor, and she just started a new company. She was with her previous company for 18 years.
wow.
Out of college, started with that company, worked with that company until December of last year, and then went. A guy that she used to work with is now the CEO of this new company, but it's all in defense, missile defense, and planes, and I don't know. I can't know much. I don't have clearance, but she's in Israel right now,
Oh
and
wow, that's
she's been
awesome.
in Israel for 2 weeks because the parent company is an Israeli defense company, and they have an arm here in the U.S. and she works for that arm. But she's traveled before, but kind of both. What all of you have said is, she's finding it just how different, getting to see different cultures and even how they work in the business world. She's like, how they operate in the business world is just a complete 180 of how Americans operate in the business world. One of what you work, but just how. I mean, it's constant. She says it's constant pushback. Well, just push back. Just wait. We signed a contract. I don't care if we signed a contract. Just push back. And she's like teacher's pet. Like, does not break a rule. So she's going, all right, guys, I'm struggling with this. And then her boss is a lady in the industry, and she's from Israel. She's like, that's just how we do it. Doesn't matter what it is, you fight back to win. You argue to win. And so she's been calling me at 2:00 here. I want to say it's like 11:00 there or something. They're like 8 hours ahead of us, so we get to talk like once a day. So hearing the stories about how the cultures are different over there, and this is her first time to Israel, she's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome for her though. It's really cool to experience something so different like that. And then you come back and it's like, whoa, like I forgot this is what is normal for us. And like, it's just very different. And
It is. It is. There's a lot of differences.
yeah, you take some things from both and you're like, okay, cool. How can we use the good things from this and the good things from this? And it's a really cool perspective to have for sure.
So what about you, Hannah?
I think my little fun fact is usually that I've never had like a corporate job. I started my business while I was still in college and took it full time right when I graduated. And so yeah, so I've never had that like corporate thing going. I've been my own boss since I was, I think, 19, which has probably made me even stronger headed for all the people that have to deal with me. But yeah, it's fun. It's great. And actually, my other one was going to be funny that we started the conversation this way earlier, but I'm the horse girl of the family. So
Yes, horses. Yeah, we were talking offline about my new infatuation with horses, and a guy that my wife works with, he's the CTO of the company. They live in Tennessee, and his daughter just got into dressage and the Arabian horse shows, and he's like, we just bought like a quarter of a horse that cost me like $50,000, or we lease it. He's like, don't do it. Don't get into horses. And I'm like,
they're expensive. Yeah, they're expensive for sure, but so worth it.
Yeah, they're pretty fun. I mean, I'm having a blast. I mean, it's even if it's something you don't do every day. I mean, on the weekends, or end up looking at buying a horse and just take it off for trail rides and stuff. I mean, it's so peaceful and absolutely insane to me at how large they are, but how sensitive they are with like controlling them and being able to maneuver them. It's just like you just whisper and they pick up on it. They pick up on your attitude. It's nuts.
It teaches you a lot as the rider. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great for my son
I'm
who's
ready
7 and
to-
like, "Brah."
Yep, I've even dragged Brad to a few of my lessons, and I think you enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Different world.
So, Brad, what about you, the patriarch? What is interesting factoid?
Well, I don't think I've ever been called the patriarch, so I'm gonna go with that. That's crazy. You just had a woo. But probably, I guess what I would share is this. Beyond the number one most important thing, my relationship with God is my family and people. And I absolutely love people. These are two of my favorite human beings on the entire earth. My mom and dad, and my sister and my nephews. I'm very blessed to have people that I love so deeply. And then, like I said, to be able to put that into the business world and love on people and be loved by people is just like, what's greater? But my happy place where I really escape and find, that people wouldn't know about me that are out there is, I absolutely love the outdoors. I grew up hunting and fishing as my dad's number one hunting and fishing partner. And as of today, I have 24 and 22-year-old girls who go every single year on a pheasant hunting trip with me and their grandpa. And we do a fishing trip into Canada. We started a new tradition last year, and the four of us go on a fishing trip in Canada for a week. And I don't know. It's hard for me to find something this side of heaven so special.
If I'm hunting, it's pheasant or quail. I love pheasant hunting. It's the most. Pheasant hunting in general is fun. I did a European pheasant hunt. Have you done into one of those?
No.
It's not the most sporting type of hunting, but man, it's a lot of fun. It's usually at a facility where you can do all types of hunting. So it's, they breed the birds there and then you hunt them. But they have the dogs. This place had a huge cabin that we stayed in. But when you go pheasant hunting, there's this huge 30, 40-foot tower. There's trees all around it. And there's like 10, I would say, positions around this tower.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've heard
we've seen
of
that.
this.
Yeah.
Do they let them go?
Yeah.
And then like we did 2 guys at each one, and there's just a bucket full of, they give you the ammo for your shotgun. You have to use their shots, and they just blow this buzzard, and they'll let like 20 of them out, and then it's just
War.
Everyone goes, and there's a dog at every position, and then if any of them get away, the dog chases them and then flushes them out of the trees. Then you kill them, and then you go to the next position, all the way around.
My gosh, it's like a game.
It's 100. I think they end up doing like 100 pheasants or something. And then at the end of the night, you go to dinner. And this is one of the best parts to me because I like the bougie pheasant hunting. You go to dinner, and the guys clean your birds. And before you leave for the night, you pick up your bag of cleaned birds.
Okay, so you got to give us 1 minute to give you the Klingman version of pheasant hunting in South Dakota.
Let's hear it.
Who wants to?
They're already making the sounds. Well, I know it's going to be good.
Okay, so when they were probably 2 and 4, I said, Dad, who's grandpa, I said, we got to take the girls. And we were hunting with my grandpa at that point. So we had 4 generations in the pickup.
Okay.
And in South Dakota, it's not a tower where guys are posted around. We literally drive gravel roads and look for birds, and then we get out and we jump them or we walk the ditches. So, Hannah, what's your role? What's your role in the pheasant hunt? Neither of them carries a gun.
I drive the truck, so when somebody spots a bird, we're going like 40, and I'm slamming on the brakes, and all the doors are flying open. It's like pure chaos.
That sounds fantastic.
And then what's Callie's role?
Oh Lord, I hate to say this on a podcast, but I am technically the bird dog of because we don't. Yeah, we don't have a dog, so they all have a role, and that is.
Hey, everyone's got a role.
Everyone's got a role, correct. Hannah's driving.
Yeah.
I'm in the back. Also, we ride in the front seat.
Yeah. We put Dad and Grandpa in the back.
Dad and Grandpa can't see anything. So Hannah and I are in the front. We're the only ones that can spot a bird. And so we'll sit in the front. Dad and Grandpa are in the back. And we'll be like, Rooster, and Hannah will like speed up. We'll slam on the brakes. Dad and Grandpa hop out. They got their guns. Oh, man. It's fun.
I'm just I'm envisioning all the awesome reels that this is going to bring at the next pheasant hunt.
We have some good stories.
There's got to be a video present, and this, I think, has got to be documented for history for when you girls have kids, because this has got to be shared.
Just wait till we tell Grandpa that we have to record our next hunt. He's gonna fall over.
Oh man, that's pretty good. I like that.
That's our version.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good version. I mean, that's a lot more entertaining than mine. Mine's just pretty, it's you shooting a bunch of your shoulders sore, but you're not laughing near that hard.
Yeah.
I knew it worked, Zach, when both kids went to 4 years of college. They never missed a trip.
That is good.
We flew Callie home from Costa Rica to go for it.
She flew from Costa
I
Rica.
about that. I did fly home from Costa Rica to
Just
go
for
hunting.
hunting for 1 weekend.
Just for the weekend of now, that's dedication right there.
2 days.
Yeah.
That is awesome, man. You guys are great. I love what you guys are doing. I mean, story's phenomenal, product's killer. Can't wait for you guys to keep blowing up out there. Thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for
All you
having us.
guys out there, if you're not following me, make sure hit the like button, hit the subscribe so you know when these videos are coming out. Make sure you're following us on all major platforms. Wherever you get your podcast, we've got you. Brad, Callie, Hannah, you guys are awesome. Thank you for coming on, and hope to see you guys again soon in person.
Thank you, Zach.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach.
I'll be there.
And that's a wrap on this episode of the Bearded Finisher Podcast. We thank everyone for joining. Keep hustling, keep learning, and never settle for anything less than your best. Remember, the path to perfection is a journey, not a destination. Until next time.